As the new year begins and attention focuses on keeping New Year's resolutions, losing weight is one of the most common goals, often an annual goal.
How successful can we be? Today's guest cautions that most dieters fail or soon gain the weight back.
Nutrition and lifestyle program specialist Barbara Schmidt will share the key to long-term success for a healthy diet on this week's Health Talk.
We're up next. Hello, I'm Dr. Andrea Peterson.
And I'm Dr. Eric Mazer. Our guest today, Barbara Schmidt, joins us to discuss initiating and maintaining a healthy diet. Barbara is the Nutrition and Lifestyle Program Specialist at Norwalk Hospital.
Barbara, welcome back to the show. We're so glad to have you back.
You're one of my favorite guests.
Absolutely.
Because I always
Thank
seem
you.
to need your help.
Well, we were going to talk about New Year's resolutions, right?
And everybody, not everybody, but most of us, many of us, I should say,
Right.
every year we're going to lose the weight.
We're going to
Or
eat
we're gonna
healthy,
sustain
and
And
always,
exercise.
they make these like lofty goals of eating healthy and losing weight.
But I wanna
that's
start-
the biggest mistake because
You
they need
were
to.
heavy, you said, once in your distant past. And
Yes, you're interrupting me, but
I know I am, but I just want to point, you did it, not only did you lose your weight, you've kept it off
Right.
for years and years and
Exactly.
years.
Right, for 32
so,
years I've
So
kept
it's
it off.
doable.
Absolutely, but you have to, it's your life. You know, this is not a diet. A diet is a four-letter word with a beginning and an end. So there's certainly a beginning, and I always say it's the beginning of the rest of your life, but it's not an end. You have to stay with it forever and make it part of your life. But getting back to the New Year's resolutions, one of the problems people have is they make these lofty things that say, I want to eat healthy. You need to be specific. How do you want to eat healthy? What do I need to do? You know, and I always say, come up with a plan. And so that's how I lost the weight and kept it off. So one thing may be you want to cut those saturated fats, and you want to switch maybe to more of those monounsaturated, those heart healthy fats. So stay away from those saturated fats, the fats that are solid at room temperature, like that would be in beef. So instead of having beef and red meat, have more fish and chicken, okay, that are lean proteins. Instead of having whole milk that is high in fat, have skim milk and non-fat milk is one easy way to do it. And also switch.
And don't eat twice as much of the low-fat stuff.
Well, exactly. So I always say, instead of having butter, have olive oil. And many times, you know, I'm in cardiac rehab, and many times I'll have my patients will be like, well, Barbara, I'm doing that. I'm having avocados and almonds because you told me that those are monounsaturated good fats, which they are. But too much of a good thing isn't good either.
It's still too much.
Exactly, because a teaspoon of fat, whether it's a teaspoon of butter or a teaspoon of olive oil, is 50 calories. An eighth of an avocado is 50 calories. So I'll have patients who will come up to me and be like, oh, Barbara, I have my heart disease under control. I'm having an avocado every day. Well, that's 400 extra calories. And, you know, this gentleman needs to lose weight. And if I'm having 400 extra calories every day, I'm going to gain
Yeah, and maybe
weight.
you can go through the math, because I think it is about calories in, calories out, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But you want to make sure that the calories in that you're getting are not empty calories.
Right.
So you
And
want
that they're satisfying calories.
right. So you want to avoid those empty calories from sugar. And when I'm talking about sugar, I'm talking about white sugar, brown sugar, powdered sugar, honey. Because many times they say, oh, I don't have sugar, I'm having honey. Honey is sugar.
Syrup.
Syrup.
Maple syrup.
Maple syrup. Molasses. So these things just give you calories and no nutrients. So you want to make sure that whatever you're eating is jam-packed with nutrients, your vitamins and your minerals, and that you find in your whole grains, so your 100% whole wheat, and your fruits and your vegetables. So that's what we want to focus more on, eating. But also being aware of your portion sizes. In particular, so, you know, if you're having rice, I don't care if it's white rice or brown rice, a third of a cup of cooked rice is 80 calories. And then did you put any butter on it or any olive oil? Now this all adds up. So you need to, look at that. Today I was having a discussion, excuse me, with one of my patients. She's saying, well, I'm having the high protein pasta. I don't care.
Go ahead, take care of
Okay.
your voice, because I will say that just to get to some of the math that we were talking about,
A third of a cup is 80 calories. So regardless if it's high protein.
3,500 calories is a pound.
Exactly.
And so you have to eat 3,500 calories less than you,
Right.
eat 3,500 calories less than you use if you want to lose weight. And so that's not easy. That's a lot of calories. And I should say also, I know for myself, I use about 2,200 calories a day, 2,000, 2,200. So you could just do the
So
math.
are you taking, okay, so the thing is that it's about the calories in. So I always say, think of your body as like a car. So you get your fuel or your calories from the food that you eat. But then also, so it's the calories in versus the calories out. So it's the exercise that you do. So that's the other portion of those New Year's resolutions. How am I going to be healthier? Is to exercise. So you need to exercise. The American Heart Association says 150 minutes every week, which is 30 minutes 5 times a week. And I say make an appointment with yourself, like you would a doctor's appointment. Monday through Friday at 8 o'clock, I'm going to go get on my stationary bike, or I'm going to get on the treadmill. And make that appointment that you're going to do that.
The interesting thing with that too, I know there's studies that suggest that exercise is more important for maintaining weight than losing weight. But I'm not sure I agree with that, because it's the extra 300 or 400 calories that you use in that 30 minutes of exercise, that's enough to trigger you into a weight loss cycle. If I eat 2,200 calories a day and I use an extra 300 calories a day exercising, and make
then
that
you'll
a 300,
have a deficit.
then I'll have a
Exactly.
deficit.
So you need to have a deficit of 3,500 calories to lose 1 pound of fat. So maybe you only lose half a pound, in a week, but after
And maybe
a while,
people's expectations are wrong too, because I've seen these things of 17 pounds in 2 weeks. That's physiologically impossible. I mean, you could lose that, but go ahead, it's water weight.
It's water weight, right. Remember, the scale is only a gross measuring tool. It does not differentiate between water, fat, or muscle. So, if you've gone out to a Chinese restaurant that has a lot of soy sauce, and then you weigh yourself the next day, sometimes you can be up 5 pounds because of all the fluid retention. And then you need to drink more water to flush that water out of your system. So you
And when you
retain
start
the fluid.
dieting, actually, again, I've read this, the reduced carbohydrate intake actually leads to a reduction in salt content in your body. So you may lose 3-4 pounds at the beginning of a diet that isn't real weight.
Right, because
within a couple of days.
your things like pasta, your starches, your rice will hang on to the fluid. So once you start reducing those portion sizes, yes, you're going to lose water weight.
But taking a step back, one of the things you were saying before is that people for success really shouldn't be considering it a diet, should be considering a change in lifestyle to last forever. But it's very hard for people to change everything about their lifestyle.
Right, so I say do a little short-term goal every week. So especially with the new year now, you want to focus on each week. Maybe this week I'm going to cut the sugar out of my diet. The following week I'm going to focus on cutting out those refined white flours and having more whole grains. The third week, portion sizes. The fourth, and then add each thing, but not forgetting about the original goals that you did. And you're going to exercise. You want to add all these different things every day.
And again, if you're starting an exercise program, it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor before you start anything like that, but also to set realistic goals.
Right.
If you have not been exercising, it's not realistic to think you're going to run a marathon in a month, but start where you are and have something real. Walk around the block.
And walking, I tell people to start, in particularly cardiac rehab, I say, look, just go for a walk. Walk as far as you can for 10 minutes, turn around and come back, and then you've got 20 minutes. Go as far as you can for 15 minutes, turn around and come back, and then you have 30 minutes.
And remember, walking 3 miles and running 3 miles uses the same amount of calories. So you can use calories by prolonging a lower level of exercise over a longer time.
Well, you want, and the other thing is you want to make sure you're doing both types of exercise. So we're discussing cardiovascular exercise. You also need to do that strength training exercise,
especially
which builds muscle. And the more muscle you have on your body, the faster your metabolism is going to be. And that is key, especially women, because as we get older, and men and women, we lose muscle. But women, we have less muscle, many of us,
but
to
men
start
do
with.
lose muscle. I think from 30-ish
Oh yeah,
on,
everybody
we
loses
lose
muscle as you get older.
And I think that's why men tend to get so much heavier when they get older, is you have, as a youth, you're very athletic, you're very active, and you're muscular.
And also too, doctor, they don't change their eating patterns.
Right. And
they're
your
eating the same way they did when they were 20. You can't do
your
that.
calorie requirements go down as you get older.
So some of the things you've talked about in terms of goals and resolutions are making your goal specific.
Yes, be specific as to what you want to do
and
be
achievable.
realistic and achievable.
And also, you've mentioned things that are measurable.
Right.
So talk a little bit about that.
You need to be able to measure it, to see it, because you need to have some way to qualify it that I've achieved that. Another thing I have people do that we didn't discuss is I have them keep a food diary, write it down. Studies show that people who keep a diary are more successful with their weight loss. And on that log, also record, when you've exercised. And it also gives you satisfaction when you see that, oh wow, look, I exercised Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I always tell people when it comes to the exercise, if you're not working on Saturday and Sunday, you should definitely be exercising those days. I know it's difficult when you're working, to exercise, but you need to
Barbara,
be able to do
you
it.
run a program called Transformations, and we'd like to plug that program and say a few words about that, if you will, and we'll give people a number that they can call.
So Transformations is my weight loss program at Norwalk Hospital. It's an 8-week program. It it's on Tuesdays and during the day at 12 o'clock and on Thursday evenings at 5:30 after work. And it's 8 weeks for $180.
And anybody can sign up and join.
Anybody
They
can
don't have
sign
to
up.
live in this
No.
particular area. They can drive from
I have
Indiana
people,
if they need to.
No, I have people coming from Westchester County that come to my program, and I have people that come from all over Fairfield
We have
County.
less than a minute, and just Diane asked this question. Artificial sweeteners, there's been a lot written about them. I know they have no calories. Are they part of successful transformation, or are they something that are better off left behind?
I personally don't like them because they're 10 times sweeter than sugar, and I think people need to re-educate their taste buds. When you're used to having something so sweet, then you always want to have something so sweet. There's also been some studies that show that it does something to change our metabolism, that your brain is getting something that's so sweet, and it's like, wait a minute, but there's no calories, so it screws up your metabolism somehow. So there's still research that needs to be done.
I know there's
on
a lot. That's an area to stay tuned in. So using diet-free sodas doesn't make you necessarily.
No, I see a lot of people that are extremely obese that drink a lot of. It's not making you thinner, and they're not. And remember, these soda people are not in the market of making you thinner. They're in the market of selling their soda.
Right. And unfortunately, that's all we have time for. We want to thank our guest,
so
Barbara
much good
Schmidt,
information. Thank you so
for
much.
joining us on Health Talk. And Barbara, thank you. It's always great to have you.
Please do send us your questions and comments to healthtalk@wchn.org. Eric and I would love to hear from you.
Thank you for watching.
Be well.